we are back to another Carpool Conversation episode with the lovely Evelyn Satuala.
Hello, hello.
So welcome. And again, normally we would have a drink, and this is where you introduce it, but we are actually driving to get our drinks right now because we don't want the light to go down and we're not able to see anything. So we are going to start off with, I like to ask what high school people went to and what year they graduated. So it gives us an idea of kind of like time frames that we're talking about when I ask you about you in the past. So high school you went to and the year you graduated.
I went to Glen Oak High School in Canton, Ohio, and I graduated in 2013.
2013, my goodness. Okay, that's actually not too bad.
Yeah, my
3 years after me.
Yeah.
Oh, your 10 years coming up. It already came
passed
up.
last year.
Did you join? Did you
I
go
did
to
not,
it?
and I actually was home. I could have gone, but...
Okay. Dang, that's too bad. So 20 year then.
Yeah.
In a long 9 years. Not for a while. Well, okay, so let's talk about where you call home right now. Where are you living at?
I live back home in Canton, Ohio.
You're back in Canton.
Yeah,
and how are you liking Canton?
Yeah, I like it. I actually, growing up there, I couldn't wait to get out, and never ever thought that I would live there again. But we ended up there, and I do love it, and it's great. I'm excited to raise a family there.
So you're going to be setting up your roots there for a while then?
Yeah, and I feel good about it.
What was it about when you were younger that you didn't like? You wanted to get out so quickly?
It felt very small town, and
is Canton that small?
It's not that small. I think just as a teenager, when you don't have money and you kind of end up just, you go to school, you go home, maybe you have a job, and that's all you do.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like, oh, this is it, and honestly, there wasn't much to do. Go to the movies, bowling.
Nothing too crazy then.
Yeah. So it's not like here where, oh, let's go on a hike.
There's a lot
camping.
of things you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what brought you to Utah? How old were you when you came to Utah? And what brought you out here?
Okay. Let's see. I was turning, I think, 21. And I had just gotten done with my mission in Costa Rica for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if you haven't heard of it. And I came out here, and I lived at Wolverine Crossing. At the time, my brother was also home from his mission and living there, so it just felt like a good fit. I was turning 21.
He was here in Utah first, and then you came after and just realized, hey, he's out here, might as well.
Yeah, he was like, hey, why don't you come out here? Because my family, while I was on my mission, they moved to Florida, and so that didn't feel.
So Ohio
like
wasn't home.
Yeah, I didn't have a home. There wasn't like I left my room. Like I had to pack up all my stuff.
Oh, you knew that they were gonna leave to Florida?
Yeah, they knew it.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was weird. Yeah, going on my mission, it's like, hey, pack up all your stuff. Like you're not. It wasn't like I had a room. I stayed in like a guest room when I got home.
Yeah, that feels odd. That does not feel normal, right?
Yeah, but it was nice. My brother was here, and he's like, hey, I know where you're going to be living. Like, you'll live in the same apartment complex as me, and it's awesome out here, and
a good connection.
What else are you going to do? And
that makes a lot
of sense. That was valid. So, yeah.
So why Utah? Why did he come to Utah?
He served his mission in Ogden.
He's familiar with Utah already.
Yep, exactly. And I think, I don't want to speak for him, but both of us, I just think, weren't really BYU people. And so he was going to UVU, and so it just felt like, all right, let's try that and see how it goes. And again, it wasn't really any other good options, it didn't seem at the time. So yeah.
And when you actually got here, did you feel like it was pretty good? Like, hey, I actually kind of like this area.
Yeah, I got along really well with my roommates. There were 6 of us, including me, in our apartment, and we all really got along, and there was so much to do. Everywhere. You can go to Provo, you can go to Orem.
And a lot of people your age too, right?
Yeah. I got a calling right away, which was cool, and just kind of dug into that right away. And so I was meeting people. That's how I met a lot of your siblings. And so that was
really immersed yourself.
Obviously a good thing.
Yeah. It all kind of worked out, huh?
Yeah.
So let's go back to younger you, whether it was like before you moved to Utah or when you were here in Utah, really just before now. What were you in your mind wanting to do when you grew up, right? When I'm getting older, I want to do this. What did you have something in mind already?
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys do this here, but senior year for, I believe it's English class, you have to do a capstone project.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that sounds familiar, but we had to do a end of the year presentation, and we take like half the year to prepare it, and
Whoa.
they wanted us to present on what we were going to do, what was our plan for life, at least the next 5, maybe 10 years.
That's kind of cool. Really just prepping you for the next steps then?
Yeah, and I think what saved me was I knew I was going on a mission, so a big chunk of that was like, okay, I'm going to go out of the country.
Those 5 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Easy planning, okay.
And then I think I just said, I'm going to try to get to a different country and try to work. I was really into working. I had 2 jobs my senior year.
Wow.
And I just have always really liked working. And so, yeah, I think I said, I'm going to go on a mission, then I'm going to go somewhere else. I just wanted to bounce and work and be by the beach. And that seemed perfect to me.
And there wasn't a specific job that you were initially going for? It's like, I'm just going to just want to work, just in general.
Yep, I had no idea of... I mean, I think my thought was like, okay, if I'm on a beach, I'll work at like a hostel, or I can like... And again, this is my high school self not thinking about like, okay, what about when you're like 35? You know, are you gonna... Which is fine if, you know, if that's what you do, like that's fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking about money or
yeah,
living off of maybe minimum wage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to be by the beach. It just seemed like no worries at the beach.
Wow, that would be pretty cool. There in Costa Rica or just somewhere else? Did you have a place?
It was anywhere. I think Hawaii was kind of what I had thought. I had a couple friends that were going out there for school, and so I'm like, oh yeah, I can live with them and work at the Polynesian Culture Center or something. You know, like just do something out there. It'll work itself out. I was definitely more... I've always been more optimistic, and so I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm a hard worker. It'll be fine.
Yeah. But so at what point was there... How do I say this? At what point did you realize that's not what I want to do, and you just pivoted and did something else?
Gosh, I don't think that ever left me. I think I would... I mean, I think it was more of a money issue.
Oh, it really
if I had parents who said, hey, go do this, we will pay for you to get out there and to like get set up and all that, I would have went. Yeah. While I was single, I would have went. So yeah, I don't think it really ever did leave me. I still have... Now I have that for my kids. I want them to have those opportunities if possible. I'm not sad about it though. It's just like... You
come to terms with it.
Yeah, like, okay, that wasn't really what... That time kind of passed for me, but I still got to travel a little bit. But yeah, money became a valid, like, okay, this is how life works.
It's like, okay, I gotta really get smart and do something. So that was you in the past. What do you do now?
Yeah, I stay at home with my son, and it's so awesome.
Stay home mom, one of the hardest jobs.
Yeah, starting in February, I've been staying at home with him, and it's so cool. I even send my husband emails sometimes just saying, this is so great, thanks for providing for us, this is like the best thing ever. Yeah, because like I said, since 16 I got a job, and so I've always been working, but it's nice to focus on creating an awesome childhood for him. Like that's the job now. That's your
main focus right now. Was that a hard transition for you, from going from like that mindset of working to... Not that it's just a different kind of work, right? But you're like not clocking in, you're not doing a 9-to-5 type deal.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quick before you answer this, what did you want?
Summer Lovin' from So Delicious.
Add
fresh lime.
Fresh lime.
And then get a small
Summer Lovin' with fresh lime.
With lime, yeah.
Okay. I haven't forgotten this question, but explain to us your drink here. Your choice of...
I actually had looked it up. So that I can tell you what it is. Oh, I didn't keep it. Okay, so it's Mountain Dew. I think it said strawberry, peach, and raspberry.
Ooh.
And then add a fresh lime.
I've never had this one before. That looks
it's very refreshing and summery, fruity.
Ooh, sounds good. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, nice and refreshing. It's not a heavy drink.
Especially after the dinner we just had. I feel like it's pretty heavy.
So good.
Okay, let's talk about the transition. Okay. Mindset was like so good, working.
Yeah. What did you say? Okay, yeah. Working to not working. How did that go?
Different type of work. How was that transition for you?
Okay, so not to make this a long answer, but...
Make it a long answer if you want to.
From when probably the second year that I was out here, I started working at a treatment center, and for like young boys and then like adult boys. and I started learning how to manage people, and I felt like I was doing a really good job at it, which led me to be able to manage people in different capacities, including like running. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What can we get started for you?
Hey, we're gonna do 2 small summer 11s with fresh lime.
Okay. Do you want like a 16 ounce?
Yeah,
Like
this.
Yes, the 16 is perfect.
Okay. 216 summers with fresh lime.
There's another one I'll text you. It's
And
called.
what else for you?
That's it.
All right. That'll be 682.
I think it's here. It's called the Mai Tai, and I think that one has grapefruit.
Ooh.
So that's another one that's really fresh.
Thank you. That sounds awesome. Okay, so you're working at this treatment.
And did you have a number with that?
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
No.
I probably should.
I know that. Thanks. I definitely
You'd
should.
have a free drink by now.
That's so true. Did not think
Gotta
that
work
through.
smarter, not harder. Save money
I
on
know,
this.
right?
Should we wait or try?
Yeah, let's wait for just
Okay.
a second.
He's chatty, so.
I know. He just sees our camera on here. He's like, "What's this doing?"
It's so normal now, right? Do you feel good about lighting still? Or do you want me to
I
test it?
Yeah, let's test it. Let's give it a shot. Let's see how it looks like.
Oh, oops. It would just be like this, right? Oh.
Oh, what
Is
if we
that-
did it like this? Is that weird? I mean, everybody's going to see us from the outside, but I don't really care. Do you
Yeah,
care?
I'm okay.
Does that look okay?
It's not illegal, right?
No. 7 lights
Did
on?
your
I don't
parents
think
tell you that?
so. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Turn that off.
It's illegal. Yeah.
I think this looks fine, though.
I think that's good.
Cool. We'll stick with it then.
You'll know later if that was worst mistake.
I know. Look back.
Here's that first one.
Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you.
And here's the second.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Do you like having the front or the back?
The back. I'll take the back.
Okay.
All right. Treatment center.
Yes. Okay. So, worked at a treatment center for about 4 years with young boys and then adults.
Trouble youth type stuff,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. All different types of things. So, my job was to manage them and make sure they're safe and following what they're supposed to be doing, which led me to other opportunities to manage people. And again, I felt I was getting promotions and it was working out great. I even somehow became the director of a school.
Whoa, okay, pause. That's a lot right there. That's a lot of information right there. Okay, first question that I have. Did you enjoy the people managing aspect of your job?
I loved it.
Really?
I loved it because
Did you know you like that? Have you ever done that in the past?
no. Went from being a kindergarten aide at
Kindergarten aide
Vineyard.
to the Trouble Youth Center.
yes.
Quite the jump there. Okay.
Yeah, and it was so cool because it was all about creating relationships with people and boundaries,
Okay.
which are so important.
Yeah.
So important in
So
life
too,
to
I
have
agree.
boundaries.
Yeah.
And so I learned that if I would hold boundaries with these kids who felt, first of all, they were bummed that they were away from their family, they got sent away, they were feeling unwanted and that they were bad.
Tough situation.
Yeah, that if I held boundaries with them, which sometimes took months, they would have a really good relationship with me and they trusted me because I was helping them in the long run learn how to treat people with respect and have those healthy relationship boundaries. Wouldn't let them disrespect me, like how they talk or how they treated me. I also was helping them with their treatment. So if there's something with their therapist they were working on, I was helping them with that and creating a really vulnerable space so that they could talk to me openly. And so it was really cool. There was only, I mean, it wasn't with everybody that I could, connect with fully, but the few that I really connected with, I'm still in contact with them. And
awesome. You still have that relationship with them.
yeah, it's been really lovely to see them now be adults that are doing well.
They're thriving and actually applying the things that they learn.
Yeah, I mean they don't all do that, but it's
So
nice.
it's special when you do see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
man,
So
that's
I
awesome.
did really like it, and it was a really hard job, but I saw that change in them and in me too, and I don't know if this is sometimes I think everyone maybe struggles if you're a people pleaser. Like I feel like I am. Oh, cat.
Whoa. This cat ran over a cat.
But I think if you're a people pleaser,
Go
it can be hard to say no. Oh yeah, he did on the right side, right?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. People pleaser, yes.
Yeah, if you're a people pleaser, I think it's hard to say no to people, obviously. And so working with these boys, a lot of them being very manipulative, you had to learn to say no, or if they, were cussing you out or something, being like, hey, like,
really
that's not cool.
Huh?
Yeah, saying things that maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable saying to people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really helpful on a personal level. So yeah, that was great. And then I worked with adults, and same thing. It was harder to manage them because they were adults and want to be treated as such.
Yeah, but didn't always act as adults.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you had this job, this manager job right here, or managing people, right? And just really getting all this type of experience. And then you transitioned into a director job.
Mm-hmm.
Were you sad to leave your previous job to jump into this new one, or how did that transition happen?
So at the time, again, sorry, long story.
No, it's perfect.
While I was working at the treatment center, I went to school to become an esthetician.
Okay.
So then I started working at a spa while I was working at this treatment center. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm leaving the treatment center. I want to do skincare. It was important to me. I felt really happy doing that and helping people feel confident about themselves and their skin. And it was just time to move on and not manage people. Just felt like a fun job that I had worked really hard in school to accomplish. That job kind of was falling through. They weren't getting very busy. This was in 2019. They weren't very busy at the time, and so they were cutting hours. And I was actually the provider at the time for me and my husband. He was in school, and so I had to find something else.
Figure something out.
And so I became a instructor at an esthetician school. Like I was becoming a teacher. So I got my license for that. And they quickly asked me to become the spa director, which I loved that. I was managing all the students, doing the student spa.
What'd you enjoy about that?
It was so fun because I just got to hype them up about going to do different waxing because, they're students. And so they were so nervous. I don't know. I'm scared to do this. Can you come in with me? And I'm like, no, you've got this. Like, you can totally do it. Like, come out and get me. Like, I'll you totally know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So just building them up with the confidence, because if you go in with them, they're never going to feel ready to go. So that was really cool. But then probably not even a month into it, they then asked me, the director was leaving, and so they asked if I could be the director of the school.
Ooh, were you nervous about that?
Yeah, but they were kind of like, hey, this is the next step, Eventually you probably would want to go there. And that was, I had a little over 100 students that I was over.
Whoa, that's
all their
a lot.
attendance. Yeah, like if they didn't show up, if they were tardy, anything like that, had to write them up. I had to basically expel a student, which was really hard to do.
Too.
Yeah, if they consistently are not coming or there's issues, whatever, we have to let them go.
Yeah. And that's what happened to the specific student.
Yep. Hold someone back from not graduating with their class. If the same thing, they were behind in hours. This was then during COVID 2020, which was its own thing. But
yeah.
All this kind of, it was crazy just what I learned, and honestly what I felt. I not snaked my way up, but I don't have an education. Like I didn't go to college. Yeah, I don't have a bachelor's degree, and it felt very like, I just was doing what I could, soaking up all I could, just trying to work really hard.
That's impressive.
And so I had a little bit of imposter syndrome there, but I felt like I was doing good, and I learned a lot, and then I ended up quitting there because I was not happy after a little while. But
oh, really? You weren't liking it after a little bit?
Yeah, it was really stressful through COVID and stuff, and I was not enjoying it as much as I thought I would.
Because of COVID and the rules that things have to get applied to make the school run, or what were you not enjoying?
I really liked being the spa director. I was missing doing treatments and working with the students on more of a fun level, because my job really wasn't fun. I was the law, and I stepped into it, and the school that I was at, they weren't enforcing things that they should have. And again, coming from the treatment center, the boundaries and things, I saw how beneficial it is if you're on time and learning these life skills. that I want these students to go and work, whether it's on their own or work at a spa, and that they're not going to be late or think that's okay. I wanted them to be the best that they could. And it was really hard. It was an uphill battle for a long time.
So what was the next step after this?
After that, my husband had graduated from college, and so he said, I've got this. He got a job, and I said, okay, I'm not going to be working. And I was so excited. I think I was out of a job for about 2 weeks, and then someone reached out to me to work at a spa, and so I did that. Yeah, then I was like, okay, because I do really enjoy doing skincare,
like those services, right?
Yeah. So
okay,
that
so
was
2 weeks. You had a 2-week hiatus.
Yes.
A break, if you wouldn't even want to call. I'm sure you're probably busy doing stuff during that 2 weeks. Your spouse got a job, and then you started working at this new spa. How long were you there for?
Until I moved to Ohio. So, gosh, I don't know what months it would have been. I think it was in the summer. I don't think I was there very long. Maybe 6 months or so. And it was pretty part-time, so it was still really chill.
Yeah, nothing too crazy then.
Just doing regular skin appointments, laser appointments, things like that.
And then you moved to Ohio. What was the big factor for you guys' move out to Ohio?
Yeah, I had someone reach out to me about opening a franchise in our hometown.
Another job opportunity.
Yes, another job came knocking at my door.
Everybody just reaching out to Evelyn.
And it was so exciting, the thought of being a business owner. And again, not having an education, but knowing and feeling really confident in all of these skills of managing people, and knowing that, okay, I could totally manage, front of house, and I know how to do scheduling, and I know inventory, and, I can order products, and I can write people up, and I can fire people. I knew immediately I can do all that.
Right?
Yeah, like it wasn't a thing. So I felt, wow, this is falling in place exactly when it needed to. I'm ready, you know?
Let's talk a little bit about that. You mentioned imposter syndrome, right? You're, at least for me, my personal experience has been go to college, get a degree, and then you're going to get a job. That was the narrative growing up, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had imposter syndrome because that's the same thing that you heard, and you felt like, I don't have a degree, so I don't think I'm qualified to do this type of work?
Yeah, 100%. I knew I could do a good job, but one of the reasons I left the treatment center was they wouldn't pay me anymore because I didn't have an education. And
wow.
Even though I felt like I was doing such a good job, and they told me I was doing a good job, I was the highest paid for what my position was, but I couldn't move up. And so it was kind of like, all right, let me try something else and see if I can kind of work again, not snake my way up, but like climb the ladder.
Yeah.
And see where it goes.
Do you think, with your experience now, and we'll jump into like what you did in this franchise and stuff, but do you think that a formal college education is necessary or required based on your experience?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't. I think it's still a value. I think it's really cool when people do it. Like I don't want to say I put them above me, because I've seen that anyone can be successful.
Anybody can, right?
But I do think there's still value in it. I don't think it's necessary, though. I think you can probably still get mostly the same jobs. Mm-hmm. But I think there's skills that you can learn that are really valuable. It's very hard to do school. And
how were you as a student back in high school? Were you somebody who kind of struggled school-wise, homework, assignments, things like that?
Yeah, I'm diagnosed to ADHD. No, not ADHD, ADD. And I hated it. Hated how medication. I am unmedicated these days for a long time. Happy to be unmedicated. School was a social thing for me, and
that's so interesting to me.
Yeah,
a lot of
didn't
people,
take it serious.
A lot of the people that I've talked to so far, had these conversations with, the majority of them have not finished school or haven't even started college. Mm-hmm. And it's a very similar story with everyone. I wasn't a very good student. I didn't do a good job. Not that I was necessarily lazy. It was very social for me. And they go on and just do something amazing. So, for example, I talked to somebody in Australia, and same things. Like, I just wasn't a good student. I didn't enjoy it. And now he's one of like top 2% earners in the area that he lives in. He's like, and I didn't go to school. So it's like,
it's incredible.
It really is. So I think school does have its place if you're looking for something specific that does require that type of
Yeah.
education and degrees and diplomas and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go to school, and I have felt the imposter syndrome at times because, like, man, am I missing out on something in school?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I need to learn something over there? And it's like, maybe I'm sure I could have learned something, right? But at the end of the day, with you specifically, your work ethic and your desire to just continue to grow, you didn't necessarily need that, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's uphill if you're not, like, even people
It
doing
can
the
be,
same
huh?
job as me, if they were just like, but I'm in school, it was like, oh, hey, well, once you're graduated, you can make more. Like, there was no conversation of that with me. So even just if you, I felt like there was almost a higher regard for those people in certain things. Obviously, we were doing more of, psychology majors at the treatment center. That made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
that's one of those things that makes sense. Yeah.
But no, yeah, I don't think that you need an education to, have value or learn things. It just sometimes can feel like an uphill battle.
Yeah. So the experiences, which is your situation, is your story is pretty cool because everything that you went through really prepared you for this franchise to become a business owner.
Yeah.
And being a business owner is not for the faint of heart. There's huge learning curve, a lot of things you need to learn. And it sounds like your life literally just kind of pieced itself together, kind of like $1 Million Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Where everything's kind of just like lined up perfectly and like, boom, this is exactly where I needed to be.
Yeah,
so tell me about your franchise experience.
Yeah, so like I said, I was reached out to and had to talk to my husband because, we were living in Orem, Utah, and my husband loves Utah. Yeah. And I kind of figured, all right, if I marry someone from Utah, I'm going to stay in Utah. It just felt like that's how it goes, and I was okay with it.
Yeah.
But we both talked about it, and I talked to him before we were approved for the franchise, because you have to apply and get approved, and there's an interview process, which is quite lengthy for certain, things to qualify to be able to do it. But we had talked about it before we officially applied, and he said, yeah, this sounds like, everything fell in place, and I was shocked. I thought, oh, this is where it's it's going to be done. And I would hate for him to not want to go and then feel like resentment or anything, We had the whole conversation that, I'd rather us not go if there could be a possibility of that.
Any sort of resentment. That's awesome.
Because, he had graduated, and so that the whole thing started for him too, finding a job out there, all that, which again fell right into place. It was so crazy. We moved back home, and again, it also was back in my hometown. So it felt, again, very special. My family all lives there. They still live there. We all live 5-10 minutes away from each other. And, we moved there in the business. It was just like, okay, it's going to open this month. Oh, nope, setbacks. We moved, and there were all these setbacks. And I wasn't working, and I actually was pregnant at the time. Yeah, it was financially a really hard time for us. It was kind of a struggle we hadn't gone through yet in our marriage, and just a different, how it is when you're married. There's new things come up all the time, and you get through them, but that was a new one for us, just trying to get through that. So we moved to a new state for my husband. He had a new job. I was newly pregnant,
which is a whole nother experience.
Yeah,
itself, right? Like,
but to be fair, I had the mindset of like, okay, and we were trying to get pregnant. It wasn't like this was a surprise.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, this baby's not going to slow us down. I'm still going to be able to just do the business thing. We'll, put our baby in daycare. It's going to be fine. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these setbacks kept happening. Eventually we open, and our business just crushed. It just was so in the best way.
Oh, okay.
It was so busy.
It just took off.
We had a soft opening. It's a cookie business, and it just took off. Our soft opening was so insane. So insane. We people came out to the community to take pictures for different news stuff, and my partner was like, "Hey, news?" Well, just for news articles, they wanted to take pictures, and I was like, "Nope." I'm like, we gotta elbow deep here, just trying to do this. So yeah, I had said, I was doing the schedule, disciplinary things, hiring, firing, onboarding, ordering uniforms, ordering all the ingredients,
All the operations. You're running
all of it. Yeah. Front of house, just, yeah, all of the operational things. Not the financial stuff, back end, payroll, things like that. I was not doing that. That was my business partner, who was very qualified in all of that. It was a very understood, like,
These are our
I'm
roles.
really good at this and you're not, and you're really good at this and I'm not. It's
good to find somebody like that.
Yeah, it just, again, felt so good. But yeah, it just was crushing and crushing and crushing. But we made so many mistakes as well that we were lucky that the business did so good that we were fortunate to have. Oh yeah, I mean, it was, we were not making as much as we could have because of our lack of knowledge. There's so much.
A learning curve for sure, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Man, okay, so business is thriving. Your spouse has a job.
Mm-hmm.
You're pregnant. You guys are on the same page. Hey, baby's going to be taken care of. We're good to go.
Yeah, baby was born before we opened. So he was about 6 months old when we opened, and he went into daycare.
Mm-hmm.
So he was still little. But yeah, it was totally fine. Everything, even just about having the baby, like, I don't know if it was my mindset or if he just came here knowing, like, all right, mom's got to go to work. You know, we can't fool around.
Yeah. But he was just good. He was just.
Yeah, he still is. He's just been pretty chill. But yeah, I was fortunate enough. I mean, considering how busy we were, I was able to get out of there once we got some managers in, and
that's good.
we got them trained, that I was able to then be at home and do all of that stuff from home, and eventually train our manager to do inventory and do the schedule.
Take over your job, basically, those day-to-day
Yeah,
tasks.
exactly. I still would, like, oversee disciplinary things, or if something really big happened, I was able to just pop in. But yeah, and then I was able to sell my half of the business to my partner in February of this year.
Made an exit.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
Oh my gosh, it was incredible, because I didn't realize that you could be so good at something and then not want to do it. Like, being really good at managing people. Yeah. I had all of this, these experiences as a young adult leading up to, wow, I'm so good at this, and I know how, and I'm not afraid to do this with people or talk to people or fire people and be direct. I'm so good at this. This is a real talent now that I've really worked up to. And near the end there, I just was excited to not manage people anymore. and that amount, because our store was doing so well. We had so many staff that, again, it was just constant uphill battle with the way that the world is today and how people want to work and if they don't want to work. And it was just, and I stand by, like, it wasn't like a lazy thing at all. It just was, wow, I genuinely don't want to do this anymore. And we wanted to grow our family and, have another kid. And so it just felt like the right time for me to make my exit.
And you had that opportunity, and it kind of worked out, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, I've had no regrets of stepping away, and I think the business is still doing well, and that's great. And yeah, it's kind of, things still just kind of worked out how they should.
Mm-hmm. So since February, has anybody reached out to you with a job opportunity? And have you taken them up on it?
There's been a couple people that reached out, just like on LinkedIn.
Okay.
But nobody that I know, not like, hey. Well, actually, no. Sorry. Actually, yes. Yes. Somebody who in Ohio wants to open up a medical spa.
You've got experience with that? Are you going to take them up on that, or are you going to be...
I'd love to, but I was real with them. Like, hey, I'm trying to grow my family and be a mom. I want to sit here for a minute and really see how that is,
Yeah.
Stick with it for a little while.
Yeah.
And, I can't wait. I love working, and I really do like that atmosphere of the spa, that if things come up eventually, I'd love to make it work. I can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah. So that was probably one of the longest answers I've ever heard, from the transition from work to turning, which I love. I'm serious. I just wanted to point that out. That is exactly what I wanted to
cut
hear.
It. It's okay.
That's the whole point of this conversation, because I want to dive deep into this type of stuff. Because it really took us to your experiences and your the way you thought things through, of your whole work experience. Something clicked, and I realized I don't want to be be doing this anymore. And it's not due to laziness, but it's like I just have other priorities, and that's my family.
Yeah, you can be good at something and not want to do it right then, and explore other avenues and skills. But it was disappointing almost. It was a little bit of a battle with myself but I am really good at this, and I've worked so hard, and I'm a business owner, like what?
I can do this.
This is so awesome, and you can help the community with things, and but I just
the focus changed. And that works, right? That's what you
absolutely.
wanted.
And people can do both. It wasn't like I couldn't have been a mom and done that. I just genuinely, my desire had switched.
Yeah. And so how has that been going for you so far? You've got one, I know you're currently pregnant, and so you've got another one on the way, which is exciting. How are you guys feeling about now actually going, the goal's actually happening, right? You're growing your family, you're present. How's that working out for you right now?
Yeah, so good. It's awesome. I love being at home with my little boy, and he makes life so fun and so awesome and new every day. And we're just gonna keep the party going with a baby girl and see how that goes.
If you don't mind, do you want to talk about your experience with trying to get pregnant again?
Yeah, I'll try to make it not so late.
No, I want to hear it. That's at length, as much as you want.
Okay, so I'll go back a little bit. So with my boy that I have, we needed a little bit of help getting pregnant. I just needed a medication to help me ovulate, and that was it. They gave me a medication.
Pretty simple solution.
Right away, it worked. They said, okay, we'll do this for a few months. We'll take a break. Yada yada. Might have to do more. Took it first month, and it worked. We got pregnant, and felt very, very lucky and fortunate because we were ready for this to take a year, however long.
Really? Was that kind of like the expectation that it would take that long?
They didn't put that on me, but they had said, hey, you'll take this for 3 months, and then if that doesn't work, we'll take a break for a couple months. Then we'll try to do this, and then and they didn't want to tell me too much at that point because it's overwhelming. But yeah, it worked out, and I already knew I was going to be doing the business, and I had already I had talked to my partner about it, just saying hey, we are trying, but it's going to take a year. Like there's no way this just like happens. Anyway, fast forward now, we had been trying for a while, just naturally kind of figured, okay, we'll need help. I'm probably not ovulating, whatever. And we did 6 months of medications to help me ovulate. Didn't work. So then the next thing was to do IUI, and we did that for 2 months.
What is IUI?
So IUI, they'll give you a shot that they call it a trigger shot, and it makes sure that you do ovulate so that there is an egg for the sperm to fertilize.
Oh, wow.
It
forces it, the ovulation. Wow.
Yep, it forces those eggs to be there. And that's where people actually can have twins. It's more likely because multiple eggs can be ready to go. Yeah.
Were you guys thinking that was going to, is that a pretty high possibility?
It's higher. That's the highest possibility is through IUI because then your partner comes in and they give a sperm sample, and then they actually through a catheter they put the sperm inside and so that it doesn't have to travel far.
Whoa, so it's just assisting the whole process.
So if there's 2 or 3 eggs there and 2 or 3 sperm, it's not controlled. It's not controlled at all. It's like, okay, let's see.
Let's just shoot for the stars and see what happens.
Yeah, and it just didn't work the couple times, and and it's not expensive like IVF is, but also if you end up doing IUI multiple 5, 6, 7 times,
that adds up.
It adds up. And so we kind of had to make a decision of, okay, what do we want to do here? And we our doctor recommended we do IVF kind of for that reason. And so we ended up doing IVF, which is very expensive. We found a great financer, I guess, or lender called Future Family, and they're fantastic. I'm sure
it's that expensive that you need somebody to talk to go over the financials of this whole process.
Yes, we took out a loan. You take out a loan.
Wow, I did
you can't
not
put a
know
that.
On
a baby, but they do.
Yeah, they got to.
They do, and it's not guaranteed. So
and it's not.
It's so crazy.
That is crazy. Tell me about IVF.
Yeah.
What is that process exactly?
So first you you know, it's very expensive. And so if you can't qualify for a big enough loan, I don't know what you would do. Well, a lot of people do funding and things like that.
Before.
You see them on like social media.
Yeah.
We were approved. I was sitting in the office and there was a barcode. I'm like, okay, let me just like put my info in, and I was approved. And so I'm like, all right, well,
cool.
I guess we're doing this. And so let's see, what do they do first? So there's a lot of blood tests that happen, and then there's a lot of shots that they give you to prepare your body to do an egg retrieval. So they take my eggs out, as many as they can.
Wow.
So the medications they give me are to make my eggs as big as they can, as ready as they can ever be. And there's lots of ultrasounds to kind of see, like, all right, how are we looking this day? Okay, nope, they're not. They measure them, everything.
Really close eye on that.
Everything's so specific, for a reason. And so finally they're like, okay, we're good. We're going to take out the eggs, this day. And that's also the day that your partner would give a sperm sample. And so we go in, they put you under, and
whoa, it's that big of a procedure.
Yeah, you know how that's like
that's
with
crazy.
Having somebody get put under.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put me under, and I wasn't nervous at all. Felt totally good about it. And yeah, that's where it's scary, because you had gone in and they said, okay, you've got 9 eggs that look really good. They're measuring good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and so then they go in and you don't know if when they actually retrieve them, if they're all gonna be good or if they're gonna make it. There's so much, and again, you pay for it anyway. There's nothing guaranteed.
That would be so hard for me to handle.
It's so crazy. And even if you got in and you're like, oh, you know what, like, we actually don't have that many eggs, it's like you still paid for up until that point, and then you'd have to pay to like get up to that point again. So it was really lucky that
you got to
that wasn't an issue. There was never an issue of, oh, do I have eggs, like what's going on. They were able to get like 9 of them out. 8 of them were good, and like I said, your partner gives sperm, and that's when they create the embryos. They put this like 1 sperm with 1 egg, and I think they put them in little petri dishes. Cool. And it's controlled. Yeah. Each day they give you an update, like, oh, this is, you usually lose an embryo or 2 or 3, again, you don't know.
Right, normal.
Totally normal. We ended up with 6 embryos.
Six good ones.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting. They grade them. They all had really good grades. We included in our financial package that we did was genetic testing, and so I think it's day 6 of those 6 petri dishes that are growing your embryos.
Yeah.
They take cells from them, send them off, and then they send back. You can find out the gender, any genetic issues, which or like chromosomal things, which is, if there's a chromosomal issue, that's why a miscarriage happens.
Right.
And people don't know, wow. you don't know genetic things about your baby when you conceive a baby.
Right.
So that was kind of the nice part about the genetic testing, was we had 2 that were perfect. There was nothing chromosomally wrong. So there was a lot of confidence with this baby girl that I'm growing now. Yeah. Is that we shouldn't have, there shouldn't be a miscarriage. Right. But yeah, so we ended up having 6. One of them was abnormal, which they would never.
You just don't. You're not going to pursue that one.
Yeah, they would not put it. What's it called? They wouldn't do a transfer of that embryo. Okay. We obviously would start with the first 2 perfect ones, which one of them was this girl. Yeah. They would not put 2 in. That's the other thing. Some offices will put 2 embryos in you. Why if you have, like, if I was in like my 40s and I was having different issues of why I couldn't have a baby on my own, they might put 2 because it's less likely that they're both going to progress, or
kind of just
to kind of get it done with. I'm in my 40s. I'd rather just have my 2 kids now and be done. Yeah. My doctor's office does not do that. But yeah, I mean, there's still a chance that the embryo could split once they implant it. Oh. But it's less likely than with IUI, where they put the sperm, because again, it's not regulated. So yeah, I'm still waiting to talk to a geneticist. I think that's what it's called, because I have the 2 perfect embryos, and then the other 4, 1 abnormal, and then the other 3 some of them they're missing a chromosome, and it even said which chromosome it is.
Wow, they know that?
Yeah, they know that.
Jeez.
From just 6 days of that embryo being an embryo.
Very impressive.
And then some of them are missing something, and a lot of people who don't do genetic testing never know if their embryo was missing something or not missing something. A lot of these times it corrects itself by the time the baby is born. So I will be talking to the geneticist at some point, and they'll tell me, okay, if your baby actually is born without this chromosome, or if it has this extra one, this could be an issue. Maybe it's like a protein thing. They're not going to be able to
like process protein?
Exactly, like something like that.
Wow.
Which again, most of the time it corrects itself, but
it's good to have that information. They can dive deep into that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So you went through that whole process. You're pregnant and things are smooth.
Yeah, they transferred one and it worked. I'm 20 weeks now.
How exciting.
Thriving. Again, very lucky because people, have multiple transfers and it doesn't work. So feeling very blessed and very, very grateful that
that's amazing.
Things are working out.
That's awesome. That's a miracle. It's a blessing to be able to get through that. Really, to get approved, to that whole process. It sounds like it was a major process and you guys got through it.
And that was honestly, we never wanted to do IVF. It just kind of fell in like, dang, I guess this is our best option at this point. Like, leap of faith, do we do it? But yeah, everything has worked out.
That's amazing. And you have one more embryo. Does that mean you guys are going to be trying for
We have one more perfect.
Okay, one more perfect
embryo. I have 4 more, the perfect one and 3 others that they will transfer. So I could have 4 more kids. I can confidently say we're not going to use all of those.
And that's super interesting.
I think we're just going to see how it goes with this baby girl, and
awesome. One step at a time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the idea of we know the gender of the next baby would be a boy, and as long as the transfer and everything goes well.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of ending with a boy because the boy I have right now is very sweet, and I wouldn't mind
such a good kid.
Ending with like a sweet boy.
Yeah, it's usually the second that's is a little feistier.
Yeah, and a girl.
You see that a lot in families. First one's good kid.
Quiet.
Second
chill,
one is
off the rails.
Love it, absolutely love it. Third one it's kind of up in the air. So there's 2 questions that I like to ask towards the end of these type of conversations. First one is, if your younger self could see you where you're at right now, how do you think they would react?
I think they would be happy being a mom, but also like, could we not be doing this on a beach somewhere?
Yeah, what happened to our beach idea?
Exactly. But definitely happy.
That's awesome. And the second question I like to ask is, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self if you go back in time?
Just to be happy, continue to be happy when you can, and uplift others, because you'll never regret doing something to help somebody feel good.
Wow. That's pretty good. I like it. Well, Evelyn, thank you so much for this drive.
Thank you.
We're almost up to an hour. These drives usually go up so fast for me. I always tell people 30, 40-ish minutes.
This is the longest
we get to
one?
an hour. Longest one was an hour and 15, almost an hour and 20. That was a long one. Some dude in Australia.
Oh yeah.
That was a fun conversation.
That's
not that this wasn't. I'll just give this.
I'm glad I wasn't the longest. I feel like I was so winded with
That's
my
what
answers.
I like. I like hearing people, like everyone has a story, right? So I just
Yeah.
want to hear people's story. I like asking questions and like getting deeper into people's thought process, things like that. So,
and it really is just scratching the surface, right? There's so many topics
there's so many. I'm sure we can dive deeper into your COVID time and that experience, just in general, outside of work, in work, with your family, how you met your spouse, everything, your mission experience. So the idea is, in about a year, I'm going to do these videos again with the same people and just check in on them. So we'll see how your girl's doing in a year. We'll see what job you're going to be doing, because you're definitely going to take up a job soon. Just kidding, you're not. You're going to be with
I was like, did I say that?
No, just see how life is. Just the 1 year later type
1
deal.
year check-in. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. So next time you guys come back to Utah, hopefully it's not going to be in a year, but
I like
at that point, we're going to talk again. So
I like that. Well, thank you.
yeah,
This was
thanks
really
for
fun.
joining. See you later, Evelyn.